We'll try and take this conversation from different perspective, but for now, let's take a look at the Supreme Court ruling and reactions coming from risk consultant Kikelomo Shodeko. Thank you very much for joining us in Nigeria tonight. You're not a lawyer for sure, so you will likely have different view on these issues. First off, were you expecting anything different from what the Supreme Court pronounced earlier today?
Just to correct, I am a trained lawyer, not just trained in Nigeria.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, thank you for the correction. So you're in a good place to take it on.
Yeah, interestingly, I wasn't expecting any different because we had the tribunal, the starting point, saying they agree with the results. An appeal, they agreed with the results, and I really didn't expect any different from the Supreme Court, if I would say so too. Yeah, I didn't expect any different really. Okay. I expected it to turn out this way.
So now the president does not have anything else to bother about that more than concentrating on providing a leadership that he's promised, which is the way it ought to be. So how do you think that the closure of the election dispute and litigation will affect international perception of the administration, which will maybe facilitate acceptance and the task before the president?
Our acceptance in the international world really has more to do with how we are generally governed, not necessarily with this particular tribunal or what is going on with the politics and so our perception is a deep-rooted problem, and it has to do with how generally Nigeria has been governed and how human lives, the lives of people that are children, the lives of women are not taken care of. So that perception is what is, not necessarily what is happening in the politics. So I don't think that changes until we actually have a president that takes that takes things in perspective and actually walk the walk rather than just talk the talk. So until we have like a proper governing where policies, procedures are followed, standards are monitored, all those type of things, we begin to take care of our children, we begin to take care of our women, we begin to take care of the men, we begin to deal with the economic situation of the country, allow people opportunities to rise from the bottom, if I would put it if I would say so myself. So until we are able to do that, I don't think the perception suddenly will change because we are done with the election tribunal.
No, I asked that question because the perception since he became a president. I mean, he is also the president, the chairman of ECOWAS, if I'm correct. It has impacted on conversations around his role in the international community. The legitimacy of his presidency has been a source of worry for a lot of people. So from that perspective, do you think that conversation around that will be put to rest and his work, like you're saying, will determine further perception?
I can assure you it's not going to put it to rest. Those that still feel is illegitimate will continue to speak on it. On the international scene, I don't think they think he's illegitimate. The illegitimacy of a particular president shouldn't be determined by the outsiders. It should be determined by the insiders, that is the people that have to deal with the daily policies that emanate from the person. If they do agree he's elected, if he's elected according to INEC, then that's it. He's legitimate in the eye of the country. Really, what is seen on the outside world is not really what is important, because the legitimacy stands the moment he was announced as the president of the country. So case or no case, he remained president in the eyes of those on the outside. So the discussion really is not the outsiders, it's really the insiders that that are angry about the outcomes of the decision that has been made.
Yeah, I guess what I'm inferring from you is that he has to work extra hard now to establish some sort of trust between the people. Okay, let me get your thought on this. After hearing the Supreme Court say that INEC's failure to keep its word is inconsequential in determining the outcome and the credibility of the elections, how confident will you be maybe with the electoral process, and what do you think INEC needs to do to redeem itself?
Okay, I have to tread carefully with this question. And the first thing I have to say is this. At the back of my mind, in my opinion, I've never trusted INEC to run a free and fair election. The reason being that over the years, they've consistently fumbled the ball, right? There's always a chance for INEC to do better, but they have consistently fumbled the ball. Either maybe due to factors beyond their control, certainly in that aspect, or the leadership at that time is not working to aid the democratic process. So that's really the problem. So when we have a body that is in charge of elections in the way we have all over Africa, where it's basically we have an agency that is in charge of elections, it's always not supposed to be that way. Elections should be so open that people can just cast their ballots and it should be counted. It's as simple as that. But the moment we have an agency that is specifically committed to that, it changes the dynamic. And so we have to be careful how we view this. Certainly, with that decision to say that INEC did nothing wrong and it's fair from from the supporters, there's supporters, there's opposition. And so from the supporters, INEC did nothing wrong, right? They counted the votes that were presented, but we saw otherwise, evidence show otherwise. For me, I don't think I'll ever be scared of the electoral process.
All right.
Of course, my skepticism will remain.
All right, Kike, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us on Nigeria Tonight.
Pleasure.